You've done everything you were meant to do, but for some reason you're not getting results, and you've been racking your head and your brain trying to figure out why, and you just can't make sense of it. Let me tell you something. It's about a deep disconnect you have in your nervous system and your mindset and your identity, and let's talk about it today. So the main problem is most people, or even me for the longest time, because I was experiencing this a few months ago, you see things don't move, but then you draw the conclusion, I've been doing everything, so why is nothing working? And this is a dangerous thought to have, because it actually becomes a form of shame and a negative thought that you don't really want to have, obviously, when you're trying to achieve something. So I want to tell you something a bit personal about me, which will help with the kind of like wider conclusion of this video. 4 or 5 months ago, I was at a point where I obviously am running I'm running a business. I do social media, also work a corporate 9 to 5. And I felt like I was making all the content that I wanted to. I was putting all the effort into my clients for my one-to-one coaching. I was showing up at work, and I was putting 100% of my energy into everything. I was investing every single ounce of me into every single thing. But I started to feel myself getting frustrated, because I was like, why is nothing working for me? Like, why is it not going the way I planned? Like, yes, of course, don't get me wrong, like, I did get some traction, but then it reached a point where I was like, why is this not necessarily working for me at the moment? And the dangerous part about that is that I didn't realize this at the time, but I slowly started to spiral, right? I started to have a lot of negative thoughts, and because of all of this, it made me start kind of scrutinizing and watching every single little move I did to control the outcome. So let me give you an example. Obviously, one of my goals is to reach 1 million followers and have an engaged community of people, of family who love my content. But what I did, I was like, oh my god, in order to reach that, I need to be getting more than 10 to 15k views per video, right? So I started monitoring each video. I opened up my phone as soon as I posted, and I would stare at the metrics for a good hour, saying, refreshing it, oh my god, it's not going over 5k, it's not going over 6k, it's not going over 7k. And the more I posted, the more frustrated I got for myself, which eventually led to my burnout. Because I kept trying to control outcomes instead of just trusting the process and trusting that if I put in the effort, it would eventually happen no matter what the timeline is. I knew I was capable. I'd already made a certain amount of money. I had a certain amount of followers, but I started to plateau because of this. And I realized it wasn't because I didn't have what it takes. I know I have what it takes. But it's because the identity that I was operating from, that was having these thoughts, could not sustain at the time the level of success I was trying to achieve. So the new person and the identity of the person that I want to be, they wouldn't be acting like this from a place of pressure, low creativity, low burnout. But I realized, okay, these negative loops are no longer working. So I decided to invest in a life coach, aka hypnotherapist. And what she kind of brought awareness to was very, very interesting. It's something I was working on for the last 4 or 5 months, and something I'm going to be continuing to work on for the rest of my life that I want to share with you. Instead of thinking about, oh, what do I need to do? I'm doing all these things. She asked, who are you being when these things happen? Okay. She asked me, does this make success feel heavy? Does visibility feel safe? Do you feel self-doubt? And that's when I realized I didn't actually trust myself to hold the level of success that I wanted. And I realized that the version of me who has 1 million followers or is making 1 million in revenue, she wouldn't be acting like this. And she told me, you need to upgrade your identity to embody the person who can sustain that level of success in order to keep it. Which is why you hear of people who win the lottery, but they blow all that money because they don't have the identity of a person who can sustain 1 million, right? That's why they end up losing all of it so quickly. So this is the most important part of the video. What you need to understand is, when I use the word identity, identity is what is exposed when you are in a high pressure environment, because these are your learned behaviors that are actually coming out. So it decides how you respond to pressure, and it decides how you respond to any form of growth. It decides whether the level of success you want feels safe or threatening. And this is the mechanism that you really, really need to understand. You currently perceive growth as something that is higher stake. And when something has a higher stake, you're perceiving it, or your nervous system, your learned beliefs, are perceiving that as a higher risk. And the higher risk activates your nervous system to go into self-protection mode. And that self-protection manifests as overthinking, hesitation, and pulling back out of scenarios. Because what you need to understand is that your nervous system is wired to protect you. And that is simply what it's doing right now, because it views success as a threat. And this is an outdated baseline that no longer serves you. And if you truly want to get to that next level, you obviously have to upgrade that baseline. So the point of this video was just to bring awareness to that at the moment. And just ask yourself, what current specific ways has your nervous system been protecting you? Have you been pulling back from opportunities? Have you been self-rejecting before you even get a chance to? Have you been telling yourself that I'm not able to hold growth? And ask yourself, if you truly believe you could hold this level of success, how would you act right now? And that is your mapping of who you need to become in order to attract that life. And I'm gonna wrap it up here because there's levels to this. This is something that takes a lot of time, and you need to do it by building awareness first and building the micro steps. I help high achieving, capable people step into their dream career and realize they are actually worthy of it. So if you want to know how to start this transformation and deeper levels of work that go into this, and as well as me documenting the lessons I've learned, make sure you subscribe and check it out.